let's queer up trans rights. TERFs attack Guardian writer for encouraging trans support. A cis female journalist who wrote an article supporting trans rights and calling for more inclusive feminism has unsurprisingly been swarmed by TERFs. Writer Catherine Bromwich penned an article published in The Guardian on June 18th in which she argued that cis women should be trans allies. Bromwich wrote, quote, "If women are united by anything, and there are 3.8 billion of us, so there's going to be little common ground, it is the risk of sexual violence from which no woman is safe, especially not trans women," end quote. She added that feminism should aim to become more inclusive rather than less, and welcome trans men and women as well as non-binary, queer, intersex, and gender non-conforming people, end quote. While Bromwich's article received a lot of support, anti-trans commentators were quick to reply, with some claiming that the term cis is offensive and that trans women should not be allowed in female spaces. Shortly after her article was published, Bromwich's Twitter page was spammed with hate in what amounted to an intimidation campaign. Journalist Elle Hunt wrote, quote, "So refreshing to see a column on trans rights that finally represents my position and the position of the overwhelming majority of women I know," end quote. A June survey of 30 countries found that Britain is among the least supportive of trans people. Britain. I don't know, it's just so frustrating. Obviously, I'm not trans, but it's just so frustrating to see that the continued. I have several friends who are, and it hurts my heart that people continue to come after them so much. Maybe I don't know why I feel that, maybe more than any other letter of the alphabet. But you know, it's disheartening.
What is so frustrating is that being trans is not new, that you've seen two-spirit people in indigenous communities, you've seen other identities across Asian and even the ancient Roman Empire. It's not new to be trans, to be gender nonconforming, and we're backtracking.
But it is new for the mass media world. While trans people have certainly been around and certainly played important roles in society throughout millennia, it's new to being exposed on television. You know, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, just a gay person just existing, not having sex, not having sex, not even kissing someone, not even having a relationship, just that was controversial. Yeah. And so now trans people are coming to the forefront, where they're certainly front and center on this show very, very often. They're saying, we are here, we won't be erased. And that's scaring a lot of people that hate us.
And I think the issue, I have learned so much over the last, in the time I've especially been here in South Florida, I've learned so much about the trans community and what we face for our community. But one of the things that one of the things that's very clear to me is that we're either going to live, that's what we want, we're going to live, or we're going to die on this hill. Because at the end of the day, our support and our voiced support of the trans community, just as you said, I just take your observation, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I take your observation a step farther. There is a dramatic fall off of support of the trans experience by the general population. And so far, we haven't done a particularly great job of making broad American society comfortable with the trans experience, why it's important, why certainly we shouldn't harm them in terms of not embracing health care, et cetera, because there is this feeling that wild radical evangelicals and conservatives have been able to sell to Americans that they are dangerous to our society. And if we as LGBTQ community do not find a way to better explain the trans experience, it is going to actually get worse. because the visibility of what we put in front of American society is saying, we think this is dangerous, and I don't understand why you don't think it's dangerous too. So therefore, it's dangerous, and it's a backlash. We talk about the drop in acceptance over gay marriage in Gallup. The number is significantly higher in rejection of the trans community. And we're going to have to decide, are we going to die on this hill? Are we going to live on this hill? Well, of course, I know we think we're going to live on this hill. But if we do make that decision and we commit to that decision, we have to figure out a way to represent the trans community and American community in a way where at least we can begin to have dialogue. Because again, we're just having the crap kicked out of us.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And when you're punch drunk and you're a little woozy, it's hard to stand up and fight back. And we're still in that woozy moment.
That's
We've still got to get our wits back about
We
it.
lost round 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
On the same topic of death, the Trevor Project's 2022 report brought up that more than half of all trans and gender nonconforming youth, 13 to 24, attempt suicide every year.
Yeah.
That is alarming. There's, more than
Beyond
2,000.
alarming.
Right.
Beyond alarming.
Beyond alarming. There's more than 2,000 attempted suicides every day by LGBTQ plus youth. And to see that more than half of all trans youth are attempting to take their own lives because they don't feel acceptance, they can't be who they are, they can't get a binder or the surgery that they want to feel to be who they are, is so alarming and frustrating.
I just have to say, my response to that is it's heart-wrenching. I think I did that story in Core News Tonight when that Trevor report came out for 2023. But we can't leave that story on the table and just say that's a fact. Because at the end of the day, the vast majority of the radical GOP and evangelicals don't care. Mm-hmm. Even in suicide, they don't care.
They root for it.
In Florida, our situation in terms of all of the tremendously hateful bills that were passed in this session, especially the healthcare bills. Okay, the bathroom, it's terrible. It's terrible. But the healthcare bills are the real shot in the heart in terms of the medical necessity of it. And I hear so many conversations of families talking about leaving Florida. Mm-hmm. And the response to from the radical GOP and evangelicals is great.
Right.
That's exactly what we want. We want you to leave Florida.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, I really have the feeling that to the Trevor Project study that you report, half of the attempts of young trans people committing suicide, the answer would be the same as, we're happy for you to leave Florida.
Right. We're happy for you to go.
We're happy for you to kill yourself.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the reality we have to make decisions on. Our facts are not resonating in the way that once upon a time a democratic, pluralistic society would respond to facts. And I don't know what that is, but we've got to figure out.
We have got to change what we are doing.
Yes.
Every organization, every nonprofit, every elected official, we have to come up with something.
Hey, if you tell me, let's have a gala and we're going to raise money, you better have a damn good plan as a secondary what we're going to spend that money on, because what we're currently doing is not working.
It's not.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show from Happening Out Television Network. In the model of PBS and NPR, we educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the stories going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.